This is going to be a video about how I took this painting that was finished, in air quotes, and actually finished it. So this was a painting about Hitman's Bar, where it's these 3 hit men/women who all have contracts on each other. And the painting I was not happy with. I thought it had problems. Mainly composition. Here you can kind of see top was the current composition, bottom is the correct composition. Correct being what I thought would make for a stronger composition. And let's talk about those problems. The first problem is that there's no clear focal point. Your eye jumps around a bit too much. There's too many areas that have too bright of values that keep pulling your eye away from the story that's actually happening. And that's the second problem, which is that there's poor narrative storytelling going on. Essentially what I wanted the story to be was that the character in the foreground playing pool has her eyes on the other lady sitting at the bar who's spiking the guy's drink, while there's this third hitman figure pulling a gun out of his trench coat, also eyeing the people at the bar. And this is really damaged because my values are off. And then the fourth problem is that there could just be some better anatomy and level of detail. So here, looking at a painting by Haddon Sundblom, we're talking about that kind of management of background and shadows. You'll notice that there's not a lot of detail and things happening in the shadows. Again, another painting that I think shows this perfectly. A scene at a bar where the shadows are just kind of dark and pretty flat. Like if you squint your eyes, there's no detail whatsoever in them. The action's happening with the characters, and so is the light. And then anything in the shadows just ends up kind of falling away and being muted. I don't want you thinking about those shadows. I want you just feeling them. And here I'm just cleaning up my palette. This is a glass, I think it's a gray glass palette that I was using. And the real advantage of a glass palette is that you can just use isopropyl alcohol to clean off dried paint. Super nice, super convenient. And I'm just going to be going in with raw umber paint now, and I'm going to be using this to redraw primary figure in the background. So just getting set up, I always like to put down one of those blue shop rags. They are holy grail as far as I think cloths or rags go for painting, and then just Gamsol. That is the sketch I did from a friend who posed for me, and that is the current painting, which we're now going to draw over, just sped up. So here I'm just going in with raw umber to redraw the figure, and then I'm going to fill that in with paint later. But you can see right now kind of what I was talking about earlier, where there's that bright white spotlight behind the bartender, and those bright yellow kind of backdrop for the glass bottles. Just glazing over a lot of the background to kind of bring the value down and kind of just make it all kind of fall away. So I'm just using phthalo blue here mixed with, I believe it was walnut oil, pretty thin, and just scrubbing it anywhere I don't want your eye to go. So basically just kind of like pushing the background and the figures apart. Now I'm just painting in this figure. I find that for the storytelling aspect of this painting, I really want her to be well detailed, and so that's why I redid it, especially with the anatomy. I think having her back anatomy be done well really helps sell the level of realism in this painting. And so just working on modeling that form, coming in, correcting my values, and just, making things look nice. And then going in for the face. This was tricky because the painting surface I used for this was cotton duck, but it was a really rough cotton, so it ends up having way too much tooth. So it was tough to actually get the paint to spread out without really fighting it. Another learning lesson from this painting. And now I'm covering up that white spotlight with just some kind of abstract effect here, honestly. I just wanted to essentially think about composition and where I want your eyes to go as a viewer. And I need to cover up that white so your eye ends up going towards her and not behind her. So come in with some yellow ochre, creating this like bluish green effect. And then here you'll see us start covering up the yellow of the bar bottles behind it. I forget what to call it. I guess just bar shelves. Just toning that all down. You can see here already, as I start covering that up, your eye starts shifting away from the bottles in that area towards the figures. Now I'm just redoing the bartender's face and bringing that forward a bit by increasing the value and just giving it some more detail, because I want this to be a character-focused painting. Fun little kind of sideways shot. And most of this painting was done with pretty much 5 paints. Just redoing the cue ball because it didn't look right. It looked too warm, so it ended up looking almost kind of like purplish, which is not what it should look like. It should look white. But I think the palette for this was phthalo blue, yellow ochre, cad red, burnt umber or raw umber, maybe a mix of the two, titanium white. Pretty standard limited palette. And here's some finished shots, just detail. I think for what it is, the painting turned out pretty good. I'm happy with it, and I think it's cool because it's the largest painting I've done. And there's something about just a big painting that looks really nice. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this.